Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. We are going to be working on this quilt behind me, so stay tuned. The quilt that I'm working on today is an antique quilt that I bought at one of the quilt shows, and I've kind of kept it in the back of my closet for a while. It's probably 10 years, because I was thinking about this drunkard's path. I really wanted it to be outstanding, but you know, stitching in the ditch around all those curves and coming down and really making it outstanding was a little scary. So I found the perfect pattern for this. I just am so excited, and it was so easy to do. So let's get started. So this is what the drunkard's path looks like in the computer with nearly all of the patterns on. I just wanted to point out again how wonderful this goes down. This would work great for an Irish chain as well. And then the fabulous flathers everywhere. And then, if I make this larger, you can see there's a little space in between each of those. And so I made up a little pattern, and I went back when I was finished and put those little patterns in everywhere, like that. And you can see that on the quilt, how wonderful that turned out. Just gave it exactly what it needed, just that little extra. I didn't do any stitch in the ditch on this quilt except in between the outside border and the body. I just placed the designs in, and it just turned out so beautiful. It was, I don't know, maybe one of the easiest quilts I have done. It does take time to do these fancy flathers, but it's worth it just to sit there and watch them. I can do that. So I think you'll enjoy using that pattern in many, many ways. Foo-foo. I love the way this is making one design in the green and another design in the white border. It was a perfect border for this, but it's half the work. It's awesome. It's called foo-foo. This space is a square, and it only has these little half circles or quarter circles in the corners. So I decided it would be perfect to use a more rounder pattern in many of these. I'm doing some fancy leathers in each of the blank white areas. It's so fun. There's so many to choose from. You could do the same one in everything, but I have so many, I'm going to just make sure I don't repeat any of them. This is another one of my favorite leathers. If you haven't heard me talk about leathers before, I have over 300 leathers. They're feathers turned into flowers, so I call them flathers. And they are amazing. I love this one because you fill it in and it pops those feathers up on the sides of the teardrop. So beautiful. I cannot even believe how this worked out in the border. This green area looks like a pattern and the white area looks like a pattern, but it was all the same frou-frou pattern. This block forms a square and I used the frou-frou 120 block pattern on it. What I love about it is in the middle it makes this X, which also continues as we go up and makes all the way on those crisscross drunkard's path design. It also fills in some of the other squares, and it's just fancy enough to look just beautiful in that area. This area through here, using this pattern, just goes all the way through the quilt, both directions, and just fills in that drunkard's path. I didn't have to do any stitch in the ditch or 1/4-inch stitching or anything. It's just the slickest thing, easy as pie. Some of these flathers are so outstanding. This one with Linda's Egyptian curl around this just makes this star stand out, and then the softness in the center, it looks trapunto. I think the Hobbs wool batting has really made a difference on this quilt because it just gives me the loft that I need to make some of this look trapunto. Thank you again for joining me today. It's always a pleasure for me to show you what I'm doing, and I know that you're working hard on your quilts. Let's take a look at some of the finished pictures of this quilt, and we'll see you next time.